Welcome to the first ever Little Theater podcast. We're here with the co-directors and production manager, set designer for 12 Angry Jurors, the upcoming play. We have Mr. Mike Fran.
Hello.
Then we have Miss Agnello. And then we have Miss Lee. Now I'm going to do 12 questions about 12 Angry Jurors. So the first question is...
Are they angry questions?
12 angry questions about 12 Angry Jurors.
You have to say them with a really angry sound in your voice.
What was the inspiration behind picking 12 angry men / jurors for this year's fall drama?
Yeah, so this is Mrs. Lee talking. So we picked this show because we like to choose ensemble shows for this theater, especially with the kind of fall drama program being so new, kind of giving the kids the chance to kind of work with each other and, play off of each other, not one kind of person being the lead, so to speak. I like that it was a collaborative show. I like that it was a smaller show and that it kind of involved less out of the set and less props, a little bit easier to manage coming off of Clue, which was our fall show last year, which was very, lots of moving parts going on there. But also the freshmen study 12 Angry Men in the freshman curriculum. So we thought it would be nice to give the students a chance to see something that they study. And we also had hoped that it would give the actors a little bit more perspective and understanding of the play because hopefully most of them would have studied it. And I think so far it's working. So that's kind of what I was thinking with this pick.
Okay. What was your guys' take when Miss Lee brought up the idea of doing 12 Angry Men?
I thought it was a great idea because I don't think I just confirmed a little while ago with Mr. Scholes, the school hasn't done a drama since about what did he say? It was like 2012.
Yeah.
So it's time. It was time. And we've done musicals, and we've really never done I've never been involved in a comedy here. So Clue was the first comedy. This is the first drama, and I think it's a nice way for the kids to understand the drama aspect as opposed to the musical aspect and the comedy aspect. It is difficult sometimes when you have actors who are good at comedic acting. Like Jackie Farkas, who's one of our cast members, she has this natural humor that comes out of her. So it's kind of nice to help her rein that in and use a different skill set on stage. So it was nice to see a drama up here presented. So
very cool. So second question. Are there any updates in the script that you're making to adjust for today? Because the play's 70 years old?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, so not as many changes as we had to make with Clue because, well, we won't get into that. But we do have to make some changes, mostly because the original play is for 12 men. So we did need to cast some of the jurors as women. So we have about an equal split, actually. We have 6 and 6, which is amazing and a miracle. So we do have to obviously change the gender pronouns for the women that are included as jurors. And we have to make some kind of change gentleman to everyone and things like that. As far as updating, we're still kind of talking about that. Generally, no. We actually just had a discussion yesterday about the references to junior, no one ever calls their kids junior really anymore, and
tenement was also a big one too.
Tenement.
They refer to the setting in the show as being in a tenement. No one really lives in a tenement anymore. I mean, they still exist, but we weren't sure if we should change that to
apartment
building or apartment complex. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
Those things just present themselves as you're going through the script. It's not something that we consciously said that we have to change.
If it doesn't feel right, we kind of think about it. There's this one character, the juror 10 earlier in the show, refers to as cold as a Lulu. No. So that's another.
How cold is a Lulu?
What is
good
a
question.
Lulu?
Someone asks juror 10 if he has a cold, if he's sick, and he goes, a Lulu.
It's a real Lulu.
Yeah, it's a real Lulu. Yeah.
It's a very old phrase.
I've never heard it.
Yeah. Neither have we. But yeah, and again, like Mr. Fran said, those things kind of reveal themselves to us as we kind of go through and work the script, and we just kind of go based off, what's right. But not too many changes other than the adjusting for our female cast members.
I have a question about that. Is that common to update it to present day?
Well, this particular show, yeah, because I mean, you have such a diversity of actors on stage. I mean, you can do an all-male production of it. I think if you did a college production, you could probably get away with an all-male production of it or a professional production of it. But because of the diversity in casting these days, you're going to have groups of people coming in and going. So you have to add, not you have to, but you should add for inclusive reasons.
And additionally, too, in the period that the play was written, women weren't even allowed to serve on the jury, and it makes me wonder if the play had been written now, if it would have just been naturally 12 angry jurors instead of 12 angry men. That's just the default as for who could serve on a jury. So that's another thing to acknowledge too. Yeah, so when I went to the licensing company to get the rights for the show, to put it on here, they have options for mixed gender, 12 angry jurors, 12 angry men, and then 12 angry women, actually, I guess if you were doing it at a girls' school or something like that, which I think would be interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very different.
Yeah.
Very cool. Take me through the audition process, if there's any, like, for specific characters, if you're thinking, because this is your second year doing it, so were you specifically like, I want this kid to do this part, or were you just kind of going into it blankly?
Well, I think with a high school show, we can never bank on anybody coming back for sure, because students have things that they do sports, and sometimes they change schools, so we can never really count on people, even if we are pretty sure that they're coming back. So we try not to. It's tough to choose a school show because you can kind of base it off of, you should base it off of who you're going to have, but at the same time you don't really know if they're going to come, and you kind of only know that on audition day. So we hope. So when we were auditioning for the show, we were kind of nervous in that we lost a lot of seniors last year, and we weren't sure, who was going to come back or things like that. So we were really very happily surprised that a lot of students came out to audition for the show. We had, I think, 20 audition for 15 parts.
Okay.
So not everybody who auditioned was able to be included in the performance, but we're so grateful that we had the interest. But in terms of kind of looking for certain qualities in each character, and please, Mr. Fran, if you want to chime in.
It's difficult to talk about casting and say, I think your original question was, do we have kind of earmarked parts for people we already know? Is that kind of
like that? Like if people you've worked with before, if their personality, they'd be great for this person.
Right, but then on your mind, you think that's the case, but then they come in and they kind of fall flat during an audition. Like we had this young girl, Michaela, who's in the cast, and she's reading the part, and in talking to her, she was kind of like in between. I wasn't sure, and then I asked what her heritage was, and she said she was Italian, and I said, do you have anybody in your family who speaks with an Italian accent? And she said yes. I said, can you mimic that? She said yes. She did it, and we knew exactly where we wanted to put her.
Okay.
So
it's kind of the backwards way of
yeah.
that.
Right, yeah, right. You have to find those little things. You can't just say like, all right, Jackie's going to come in and she's going to be this character. I mean, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The way
that did you have something? Sorry, I don't. No. The way that I kind of like to think of it too is that less student, more like, can the student perform the quality that we're looking for? Like, for example, Juror 8 is the protagonist, the moral center of the show. So we needed a student to be able to kind of exhibit level-headedness and rationality, and kind of have that good, sweet, genuine, I want to come in and actually figure out how to save a life rather than just make a judgment on face value. And very luckily the actor we do have to portray that is doing a wonderful job at it. But yeah, it's mostly for me at least, can they, and exactly what Mr. Fran said too when we were talking about kind of finding the sweet spot of the little glimmers in a student's performances, can they kind of match what we're looking for and surprise us? And usually they do.
Yeah. So I know Miss Agnello has to run, so I'm going to jump a couple questions to the one that mostly pertains to her. So compared to last year's Clue, which, from an outsider, when I think of Clue, there's a lot more set pieces, I would imagine, than 12 Angry Jurors, which I'd imagine would be, the jury box and the table. But I know you guys have plans for more stuff there. So I guess it's tackling this new play. Were there any challenges, or are you going to go with the more simplistic way?
Definitely
of
keeping it more minimal than Clue. Clue was 12 rooms, like the game board, and this is just the jury room. So for me, the challenge is, which if you guys remember with Clue, we started out calling it minimal, and then it just kind of exploded like we do with most things here, because I think I have a problem like reeling it in, and I always just want to do bigger and more. But with this, I really don't think I'm going to be able to do that, because it's just the things that would be in the jury room, and that's it. Like, I can't paint anything that doesn't really belong in a jury room.
Yeah, but I just to raise her up a bit. She can take something like a jury room and make it a real jury room. It will give you that sense of jury. I'm saying this because I'm looking at the pumpkin that she built for Cinderella. That's an amazing piece of work.
Thank you.
That's an amazing piece of work. And I've seen you here way back when you did Grease, and you were building Grease Lightning with your husband here. And the dedication that you have to your set building goes above and beyond.
Thank
because
you.
it was after hours. It was like 9 o'clock, and you were in here.
Oh my God, I've walked out with maintenance at 11 p.m. before.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you even called me. I was home. It was like 10 to 11, and I was home. No, it was 10 after 11, and you were like, "Are you here? We can't get in the front door."
Yeah, that was last year. I got locked out.
And I'm like,
and
oh
I
my
had a
God.
babysitter because I came here to build the pumpkin.
No.
Yeah, but it was like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm home already. There's nobody in the school.
Yeah.
She's coming in to build set. So.
Thank you.
You're pretty amazing.
I do love doing it. I never did anything like this. Even when I was in high school, I was never involved, and I really regret that. I wish that I had been. Maybe I would have gone a different route, because I just love it, and I think it's so cool, like creating these little worlds for the set for the characters to come to life.
You're so talented at it too.
Thank
I haven't worked with you
you.
as long as Mike has, but really, what you've been able to turn out for us, at least for Clue, was just so. Like, I remember the first time I came in and saw that set, and I was like, "Oh, we have a show! Oh my
I
gosh!"
loved Clue, and
it was
I
so
honestly,
fun,
I
right?
never saw Clue.
Yeah.
Like, I never saw it in entirety until the actual opening night.
Yeah.
I was so blown away by the way the costumes, the cast, the set, and everything came together, because it was like. It was a lot building up to it, because we just, I think we were all a little overwhelmed with everything, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, it always looks great.
Thank you.
So rehearsals have started as of us recording this. How are they going? How far have we gotten into the play? How are we doing?
Well, we're a lot farther along than I thought we would, and which is an interesting thing, because I thought with a drama of this caliber that we would have fits and starts, and we wouldn't be this far along. We're actually the show is written in 3 acts. We're going to combine the first and the second act to make 1 act, and we're already at the end of that act. We just have a little bit of blocking to do, and then we can move on to the second act, which is even shorter. So the talent on stage it just blew me away that we're this far away. Not to get too confident too soon, because we still have time to go, and I'm sure that we'll fall through a
I
pit
feel
hole
like
somewhere.
you could be very confident.
I'm
I feel
sorry?
like you should be very confident. I feel like when you guys put stuff together, it just it just works. I don't know.
I mean, I feel, I kind of hope it. I mean, this is gonna sound crazy to say. I kind of hope we do hit a rough patch, because that makes me know, like, from my experiences doing theater, like, a bad dress rehearsal means a great performance. So, like, I want us to be far ahead, but like it's good to kind of balance that confidence with like the also, there's still more that we need to get through. But I'm so pleased with how everything's going, and we really do have. And I know that we talked a little bit about never having the opportunity to do a drama like this in school before, and not kind of knowing what our actors were capable of. And we picked the show knowing that it would be a challenge for them. There's no slapstick to rely on. There's no physical comedy. There's no jokes. There's no, Mr. Green is funny. They'd really have to act. And what I love about this play so much is the realism and the truth in it. And I noticed this from the audition. I'm really blown away with how seriously and with the level of focus and dedication that they're bringing to this show. It's really amazing. I didn't expect that. So yeah, like just yesterday at rehearsal, I whispered to Mike. I was like, I think they're feeling really confident today, because there was just there's some pockets where they're really like hitting the ground running, and that it feels like a real courtroom in there. And so I'm so proud of them. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Very cool. Yeah, I would imagine like with the past plays, there's more crowd participation, and like I can't imagine in this play there'd be a lot of like clap breaks, like opposed to like Clue, there's a lot. And
Yeah.
it's Cinderella.
It's like sitting here. It's like sitting at home and watching like watching Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
You're not waiting for an applause break, which is kind of nice. It gives them a chance to actually act and flow with the show.
Yeah,
It's all
totally.
good.
Yeah, we're proud.
So are there any like specific scenes or beats, whether you guys tackled them already, but you said you haven't started the second act yet, that
Right.
make you a little nervous or excited to get into? That might be a challenge, or that you're just excited to see come to life?
Honestly, I don't know. I think they have a good grasp of the concept of the show and what their characters are doing and where they're going. That I don't think we're going to hit a part where they don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. If you come and watch a rehearsal, you see that they're in this groove, and they go from, once the train starts, there's no stopping it. So they where they are now, they just go straight through to the end, and I don't think this is going to have a problem with the very end, because they know who they are. As actors, they know who they are as characters. I don't think we're going to hit, well, this is early in the game. Talk to us after the show. And then we'll give you an update on that. But I'm not missing any beats from these guys. I'm not,
Was there a specific scene that you guys put together that you guys were like, nice, they killed it? Like any one specific part? But I guess because the whole play is like really like one big scene, I guess you could say.
Right. No, go
I
ahead.
think expecting them to have the stamina to do basically a play that is 2 scenes is was kind of apprehension making for me. But again, like Mr. Fran said, they do hit that groove, and they've been able to keep the energy up. And as we get kind of further into the process and further into school year and rehearsing more often, we'll see if we can keep that up. We're really trying not to overextend our actors. As we know, they're student actors. They're involved in other things. They've got school. That's their first job. So it's really important to us to kind of not burn them out too quickly on that. And I think the performance will show it. But yeah, I think, if I was worried about anything, it would be that. But I mean, they've proved to us that they can do it.
Right.
Nice.
And just to add this, there are a couple of kids on stage. There are a couple of actors on stage who are playing against type. Like I mentioned Jackie before, and we have Andrew, who's also playing against type.
Andrew's going to be editing this.
Oh, hey, Andrew.
If you want, you can cut this out, Andrew. It's okay. Or just keep this part and cut the rest out. He's playing against type, and that has not become a problem.
No.
I thought there was a couple of times I thought maybe it would. I mean, even maybe he thought it was going to become a problem. But he's risen to the occasion, and he's doing exactly what his job is in the show. So that's good.
I think it's realizing too that we don't, because a lot of these characters are terrible people. They're racist and bullies and bigots. And I think it's understanding hey, you don't have to be that. You just have to act like it in this space only. And I hope that it's a fun challenge for them to kind of, go so outside themselves, which is another thing that I wanted to challenge them with this too.
Okay, so my next question is, in terms of rehearsing, how has this round of rehearsals been different from Clue? And just based on what you guys are saying, I'd assume it's much more of like a serious atmosphere, where Clue seemed more, for lack of it, more fun and more energetic, where this is, acting.
I think what's helping the rehearsal process for this show is the fact that it is just 12 to 15 people here at a given time. When we did Clue, we had the same amount of people in the show, but we also had the same amount of people sitting out here during rehearsals, because they were either understudying or they were just hanging around, or just their friends were in the show, and it just seemed like it was a little too chaotic. I think everybody in this show knows their place and their job, so they come in, they get their job done. The goofing around happens before rehearsal and after rehearsal. But when they're up here, their level of, for lack of a better word, professionalism is astounding, because they get totally into what they're doing. I mean, I don't know if you teach music. Do you see that with your kids too? Do they goof around, and when they, right up until the time they get an instrument in their hand, are they just like Don Knotts, kind of crazy, and then all of a sudden it's
it's goofy nervousness, and then it's like, all right, guys, it's real now, and then they start kicking it in.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the level of commitment to the actual thing. Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what I, was going to say too, in that the professional atmosphere is a lot different. And it doesn't have to, necessarily because of the tone of the show is serious. I think we just lucked out in having a dedicated group of kids who are kind of no nonsense and are like, we're going to come, we're here to work, we're dedicated, committed. And again, the fact that it's a small group with kind of no like extras, even stage crew, when we include stage crew, really it's going to be just Kara, the stage manager, is sitting next to me right now. Really it's going to be her and maybe like one other person back there, really not a terrible amount of people. And, while part of the fun of high school theater is, hanging out with your friends and, making those memories that way, it's really nice for efficiency and just kind of keeping a professional atmosphere and when everyone is, serious and there's not a ton of like, extra stuff.
It also seems like it's like a quieter play too. So it's like all the goofing around, it's harder to like, quietly goof around in something like this compared to, with Clue, which was a lot more, like I said, people running around on stage and everything.
And like I said, it's not like, okay, scene 1, we have entrances and exits, and then it's scene 2. Like, there is none of that. There's no opportunity for like, there's no downtime. You're on your character all the time. So, if someone wants to sit on their phone, they're going to miss like 15 lines. Yeah. So.
So since you guys are co-directing this, I want you guys to kind of tell, what each of your individual strengths are. If you guys have specific, I don't know if jobs is the word, but roles, I would say, in terms of directing the play. If, one of you guys do blocking, the other does more line stuff. So just talk about how you guys help each other out and stuff like that.
I would just like to go on the record by saying if Mike Fran did not help me with this, I would be dead. So yeah, very true. And the show would be terrible. So I take a lot more of the like communication roles with the students. I manage the schedule. I organize like, the administrative things like talking to parents and all of that stuff. I'd say we both work on things like line coaching and blocking, although Mike is much more talented and knowledgeable on that side than I am. And I'm so grateful to be able to learn from him in that way because I was a musician. I did mostly musical theater and opera in my performance background. And I was a performer too. I directed some shows in college, but I never really had the chance to helm a production until now. And so I learn a lot from Mr. Fran through that respect. But, there's a lot that I don't know still. So, yeah, I would say for me, I kind of take on a administrative like role.
You take on a big directing role there. I always defer to you sometimes. I know I go off on tangents when I'm up here because I have a long background of doing this. I started a long time ago in high school, and then I went right through college and then real life doing stuff. And most of my directing style comes from being an actor. Doing plays all my life. So when I'm watching something and I'm hearing something, if I hear a false note or if I see a false movement, I'm going to stop and correct it. So that's my strength. And the administration stuff, she's got it. She's got it in spades because I don't even have a laptop. I have no laptop. I don't even have an iPad. I have none of that stuff. I have a phone, and I can't do much with my phone other than what I do. But my style is I know what an actor. I think I know what an actor thinks on stage, especially other actors, and it's easier for me to tell them what to do than watch the mechanics of the show from the back and work on it that way. It's the easiest thing in the world for me to do. But my collaboration with Katie, it goes hand in hand with I don't know. Cookies and milk. It's a nice relationship on stage.
Definitely. So, it's lucky that we have a lot of the summer to kind of talk about our thoughts for a particular show coming up. We discussed it a little bit this summer, so it was nice to kind of and the privilege of having last spring too to kind of talk about it and talk through it. I love collaboration. I really value it a lot. So to have a collaborator who's like I'm on the same page with and can kind of read my mind in some instances. There's been so many instances, and yesterday particularly, where I'll have a thought and he'll be like, "Wait, I have to say something," and then it's what I would have said. No. So I'm like, "Awesome, nice. He saved me. Some vocal stress." But it's so great and I think it's a nice model for the students too, in that you're always collaborating with people, you're always learning from your peers and your colleagues. So I think it's a nice working relationship to show the students too. And it's just fun.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
Very cool. So we're on question number 10. We're almost done. We're almost through. So as we mentioned, you guys do your rehearsals after school, and I think as Miss Lee mentioned, full school day, and now you have to go do rehearsals until when do you do rehearsals till? Like 6 or 7 o'clock at night?
5:30 for now. And honestly, that's almost been like a little too much time with how fast and how dedicated our actors are being. I know we usually kind of go later into the night hours when it gets to tech week, but like I said, we're trying not to burn our people out so quickly. But yeah, it's tough, especially like for me, I'm teaching 3 classes a day. Students have 4 classes a day. We're tired, and then Mr. Fan has to go to work after, after this. So it's a lot, but
do you guys have any specific, like, I don't know if techniques is the word, but just like methods to keep everyone on task and motivated and not, like you said, burnt out? Is it just staggered rehearsals or?
Well, we're still recording this on a Thursday. Thursdays have been our dark days.
Sorry
and it's
to
been,
ruin that.
Yeah, so no, it's totally fine. It's been, and it's been nice because it gives the students a chance to rest and maybe go do other things that they have, jobs and extracurriculars and all of that. I also have students that are in the Brookdale Early College program, so they have night classes at Brookdale, so we're happy to give them the opportunity to focus on that. And for me, it's great because I get to catch up on all my grading that I don't get to do because I'm sitting in rehearsal. But it's nice to have a day to catch up on that. And yeah, and I think in terms of kind of like managing a rehearsal, we try to do a warm up most days. We sometimes do like an acting warm up. We'll sometimes do a vocal warm up to kind of get them into kind of the mindset of projection and diction. But in terms of like management, I mean, this, and again, we've kind of mentioned it already, but just the nature of the show keeps them organized because there's no someone hanging out in the house while others work up on stage. It's very much everyone's here to work all the time. And then we, of course, take breaks because, that's important too. So everyone gets a potty break and a snack break. But, that also kind of ensures that when we work, we are ready to work. You can check your phone at the break.
Like you said, today was your off day. So as of right now, current status of where we are with the play, what are we working on? What are we setting up? If Miss Agnello was here, I was going to say, like, our set, where are we at right now? Well,
I don't want to speak for Miss Agnello, but we're still in the planning stages of set. Everything changes. We started with no set, little set. Now we have doors and windows, and we have flats coming up. So we're also changing out our tables. If you notice, we're sitting at a table that's really, really large, and it's difficult for the actors to get around that table and say their lines in a very short amount of time. So we're going to work with different tables starting next week. We're still in the early stages. We have a month and 2 weeks, and we're already at the end of 2 acts, which is going to be molded into 1. So I would say we're in good shape. But then again, it's still early. Like I say, talk to us the week of, and I'll be like, I can't do this, Alex.
Yeah. But that also might mean that we're going to have a great show. So, what we're going to work on tomorrow specifically, we're going to run the top of the show to whatever we have blocked, which is going to be nice because we've been focusing on that. Second, I guess, like technically Act 2, second chunk of Act 1, if we're, going with the grouping that we've come up with. So we can refresh the actors' memories on the top of the show. And then we're actually going to have a little fun and unique day tomorrow. We're going to watch a staged production on YouTube and kind of have a little viewing party, pizza party kind of deal. Thank you. Shout out to Charlie for making us pizza. We love you and appreciate you. And it's also nice to get the cast to bond with each other. And kind of hang out in a more casual setting than when we're here to work. So that'll be fun, and we're looking forward to it. And hopefully it will give the cast some inspiration as to, what the character moves like, looks like, sounds like. Of course, we want them to keep their performances unique, but it'll be nice to kind of see the play.
A reference.
A reference, yes, exactly. That's not just like the 10 old men or 12 old men around the table, from that old movie that I'm sure,
movie.
From 1954, yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
And then one last question: what day does the show open, and where can people get tickets? They probably can't get tickets yet.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
We are still in the process of figuring out tickets, but the show, we have 4 performances, November 9th at 7 o'clock p.m. Thursday, thank you. Thursday, November 9th at 7 o'clock p.m. Friday, November 10th at 7 o'clock p.m. And then Saturday, we have a matinee at 2 o'clock and another performance at 7 o'clock p.m. And we are also in the works of getting an in-school performance on, I think, the Wednesday before opening night. So students can come and see the show in school. TBD on that.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys
Yeah.
for being here. Thank Miss Agnello. She's gone now. But this is our first episode of the Little Theater Podcast. I like the name of it.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Yeah.
Mr. Fran for that.
Very cute. I
And
love
cool. Everyone make sure to go support 12 Angry Jurors and take it easy.
it. Yes, thank you so much.
One with you. I don't think you said your name.
They know who I am. Mr. Peragine.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Alex.